Hello, I'm probably riding my bike. I can't believe it's been over 2 years since I started this channel, back in February 24. I never imagined myself to have a YouTube channel, but here I am. It's been a fun ride so far, and I just want to thank everyone who's still here, those who were there from the beginning, and also any new viewers. Over the last couple of years I get a lot of questions, and I wanted to put out a Q&A for you. So I gathered some of your questions over the couple of years and also asked you recently anything you want to know. Some things I'll have to keep a secret, but I'm willing to share a lot of myself. I've tried to group some of your questions together because some of them were kind of similar, and also for the flow of this video. So I'll start with kind of the origin of the videos and my career as well. The filming and process of my videos. Lots of people asked about fatherhood and my balance of my life. Of course there'll be a section about bikes. Another section about technical and practical stuff. Seoul and Korea, local culture, and also some general influences and tastes of my life. Here goes. I'm kind of nervous about sharing so much about myself, but I'm happy you're interested. Here goes. The origins of this channel. A lot of people asked what made me start this YouTube channel. I said earlier I never imagined to have one. I used to post a lot on Instagram when I started a Probably Riding account, when I built up my Velo Orange Polyvalent. And I just enjoyed the community of people liking bikes, and it was fun to share where I ride in Seoul and the food and coffee stops as well. Social media can be a pretty horrendous place, but there's a small bike bubble in there with lots of really lovely, nice people and a lot of beautiful bikes. People always asked why didn't I start a YouTube channel, because I seem to enjoy sharing my bike life here. But I always thought YouTube was filming yourself talking to a camera, which is definitely not my style. But one day I was just out for a bike ride and thought I'd do a bike check. I tried to talk over while I was filming and it just didn't work out. Not very good at multitasking. So I went home and added a voiceover. And that was the beginning of the format of my videos. Since then it hasn't really changed that much. So that's basically the origins of my channel. And then a lot of you asked about the origins of my life in Korea. I came here first time back in 2009, doing the same thing as a lot of privileged people with passports from native English speaking countries. I came as an English teacher back then. I was just curious about teaching. I knew nothing about Korea, and the opportunities were quite good back then. So I gave it a go. And many years later, I'm still here, unexpectedly. I thought I was just going to come for a year, but after a few months I liked it so much, I decided to stay longer. It wasn't love at first sight. It took me a few months to warm to the country. It didn't help that my school put me up in a love motel the first few nights, where I heard all sorts of noises, sleeping on my heart-shaped bed with pink satin sheets. I don't just teach English anymore. Teaching English as a second language was fun in my 20s, but teaching kids how to say their name and their favourite colour and favourite animals got a bit boring after a while. Some people think I quit my job for YouTube. YouTube definitely doesn't pay enough for that. It's a nice little side income, unexpectedly, but I'm a long way from quitting my job. And also, if it was my full-time thing, I don't think I'd enjoy it as much. I do it just for the fun rather than the money. So now probably the most asked question I get, apart from what handlebars do you have, is what's your real job? I said before I kind of got bored of English teaching, but I did like the working with children and teaching part. So I left Korea and became a fully qualified primary school teacher in the UK, or elementary school as you say in America. I did my teacher training in London, which was certainly eye-opening, but a place I really loved working in. The children there were really interesting and engaging, a challenge at times, but I really loved the students' energy and the diversity of the classrooms. And now I'm doing the same here in an international school. I love working with people who are keen and enthusiastic every single day. And we get to work on lots of different interesting things. A primary school teacher is kind of a jack of all trades, teaching English, reading, writing, poetry, non-fiction, maths, history, geography, science, art, being a social worker at times, a coach. The list is endless. It's an interesting job. Keeps me on my toes. I tried to keep this channel and my work quite separate, but as the channel grows, it's been impossible, and I know a lot of the parents watch some of my videos, so if you're watching, hello. And if you're a student watching, you shouldn't be. Go outside and play. A few people asked what motivates you to keep filming after 2 years. Well, I'm still riding my bike every day, and the filming and videos is just a part of the enjoyment and fun, almost as fun as actually riding. When I'm editing, I enjoy reliving the ride, and I find the voiceover kind of cathartic and therapeutic. It's a good chance just to get my thoughts out, because sometimes I'm someone who keeps everything in my head. And a huge motivation is all of you, the community that watch these videos. Most of you I haven't met yet, but over the last few years I've made some really good friends through this community, and I'm sure I'll make some more in the future. I'm super happy that I seem to inspire people to want to go and ride their bikes. So that's kind of my main aim for the channel. So that's the kind of origins of the channel and my time here in Korea. Let's move on to a bit more about the filming and process of my videos. I get a lot of questions about those. I always got a lot of questions about how I film my videos. I've done a video on it, I'll put a link in the top. But since that video I still get questions. So here goes. Having the right gear is one thing that kind of put me off starting. I thought I needed a proper camera and editing suite. I realised after my first video that you can basically just get started with just your phone. The first 6 months or so I was filming, editing, doing the voiceover, everything just on my phone. My videos weren't too long, it was quite manageable, and I liked being able to do a bit of editing on the fly while I was sitting at the park or had a few minutes to spare instead of doom scrolling on Instagram. After a few months my wife bought me the Insta360 Go 3, which really helped make my riding shots a lot better and a lot safer as well. I was still doing all the editing on my phone, but when it came to trying to edit an hour-long Tokyo video all on my phone, I realised it was time to upgrade and get myself a better laptop to do some editing with the proper software, which made the process much faster and easier. So a few questions about the process. There isn't too much process really, I just film my bike rides, and most of the videos are just in the chronological order of that. I like having them in order, so I hope it feels like you're actually riding with me. Sometimes I kind of have a theme or know a cool place that I think would be great for a video, but just because I ride every single day, it's easy enough in the cool city like Seoul to kind of make an interesting story. Sometimes when it comes to the voiceover I have no idea what I'm going to say. A lot of the time I'm kind of thinking during my ride what I might say later on. So a lot of the voiceovers are more just what I'm thinking about when I'm riding bikes. The process is just filming the bike ride and then downloading all the footage onto my laptop, cutting the parts that I like. The editing is fairly quick, it takes about an hour. It's the downloading all the footage takes longer. And then the voiceover is the thing that I find the hardest. Mostly nowadays finding a quiet time. Being the dad of twins. And also I need to be in the right mind frame and have enough energy to get my thoughts out. I say it's the hardest, but it's still a part I really enjoy. And now I can't talk about the filming and the process without talking about the cameras from my sponsor, Insta360. I was already using their cameras before, so I had no problem with taking a sponsorship for a few videos. They help keep this channel running. I actually have some different cameras from them, but the main one I use is the Go Ultra. They sent me this special edition, which is just being released now. The Tadej Pogacar version. They knew full well that I'm not a road cyclist, but they thought some of my audience might enjoy this special set. This nice packaging comes with this autograph card and all the accessories like the ring remote, flexi strap mount, flexi angle mount, easy clip headband, the action mount, sticky tabs, and one of my favourite parts of this camera is having a micro SD. It's got the custom packaging for the Tour de France winner. And it's the same great camera inside with some nice branding on the front. My favourite thing about the camera is the tiny little pod that you can remove. It's so tiny and easy to use. And the removable SD storage is awesome to have. I didn't have that on the previous camera. There's lots of different settings you can do. And you can film in 4K up to 60 frames per second. Even when you remove the camera, you can still see the footage on the screen, so you can set it up remotely if you're not too far away. And there's the magnetic pendant. Here's the two cameras side by side, and there's a few differences between the special edition and the original. And with the camera you can get the special watermark as well for Tadej Pogacar. I wonder if he likes riding bikes slowly sometimes and stopping for a coffee and taking it all in, or whether it just feels like a job to him. I know this video is sponsored, but I really do recommend these little cameras. I know a few other YouTubers are using them, and I think the quality always looks good. And as I said before, having this sponsor has really helped keep this channel going. Check the link in the description and use the code PROBABLYRIDING for any discounts or free accessories. Alright, back to talking about myself. And the third section, balance and fatherhood. A year ago, halfway through the 2 years of this channel, I had a big life change and I became a dad. It definitely changed the direction of this channel a little bit, but it hasn't stopped me riding bikes almost every day. Just my bike rides are a bit different now. I had quite a few questions about this actually, and even some marriage advice questions. You should probably go to a marriage counsellor if you need some serious advice. But the important thing is you need to work as a team. Having children's not the easiest thing, but it's the most awesome thing. And you need to support each other. Someone asked, as a dad, how do you balance riding with family? My rides are kind of shorter, but almost sweeter nowadays. They feel like a gift because I have less time to do them. I do ride to work every day, so that's where I get a lot of my riding in. And nowadays the children are getting a little easier, and we have some help from a grandma as well. So I do get to go out for some rides with some friends. It's important for my wife to get some time for herself, just as it's important for me to clear my head and go for a short bike ride. Soon they're going to be the age to join me, so I'm really excited about taking them out a lot more. And hope that they can appreciate the love I have for bikes and they can love them just as much. hopefully. Someone asked if I ever get burnt out with making the videos or balancing work and being a dad. There were times it was pretty hard. I think any new parent goes through those hard times. But I've always just got to remind myself how lucky I am. I'll only do this once so I can accept having fewer bike rides or not being able to ride as far as long. Because probably when I'm older and have more time to do that, I'll miss being a dad and having young children around. Let's move on to section 4, which is really what this channel's about. The bikes. What made you fall in love with bikes so much? I think I fell in love with bikes from the very beginning. I vividly remember learning to ride a bike with my twin brother. And I still remember the feeling the first time I could pedal and balance and how freeing it felt. And I still have that feeling a little bit when I go for a bike ride. And as I grew up, I always had a bike to ride to university or work. But I didn't ride every day until about 15 years ago when I moved to London. Before that, I'd go long periods without riding a bike, and every time I did, it always felt so freeing. And then I thought, why don't I just do that every day? So I bought a comfy commuter bike and just started commuting every day in London on that. A Pelago Bristol. It's a bike I still have in the UK. It's super comfy. And then when I moved back to Korea, I wanted more than just a commuter bike. And I wanted to build my first bike for the first time. So I built up the Velo Orange Polyvalent, which took me on some amazing adventures. I made a whole video about how that saved my mental health. I'll put the link up here. Since then, I've acquired far too many bikes. People always ask how many I have, and the answer is too many. I'm a little embarrassed how greedy I am, but I do ride all of them. But I will probably get rid of some soon. If I could only keep one, it would be my Rivendell Atlantis. People have asked my unlimited funds bike, or my dream build from scratch, or my favourite bike in the stable. It's the Rivendell Atlantis. That was my dream bike. It's the USA made by Waterford frame, beautiful lugs, and I picked out some premium parts for it too. I love Rivendell bikes, and I think that's the quintessential one to have, and it's amazing to ride, and just as importantly as the ride feel is, it's beautiful. I'll never get rid of it. I hope I can keep it forever. I have considered perhaps getting a custom frame, and people have suggested I should. But I feel like it would never feel perfect. I know I would fall in love with it and it would be a great bike, but I'd probably focus on its imperfections and think, if I got this custom frame, why is it not perfect? I think the Atlantis I have is perfect for me already. Some people have asked, have you ever considered a bike finished? I think my Atlantis and my Clem are finished. They're properly dialed in. And as I've built more bikes, I feel like I usually get them right first time nowadays, without tinkering too much. But there's always the urge to do a handlebar swap or tinker and change a few things. That's all the fun of having a bike. I've got a few Rivendells and I think they're special bikes. I'm also really enjoying my new Rune Nightwood and the Rune Rufus Stone that I built up last year too. And the Monopole has been a super fun little cargo bike to ride around in Seoul and do some errands. And I've just acquired a tank of a cargo bike, which I'll be sharing in a video soon. It will take me on many adventures with my little ones. Next up is continuing the theme with bikes, but more kind of technical and practical as much as I can be, really. I'm not a really technical person. If you could just choose one handlebar for life, what would it be? My favourite bars are the Nitto Billy bars. I think they're the perfect width, not too wide. And they've got enough hand positions. And they're beautiful as well. Ideal tyre size. I think the ideal wheel size is 650B with at least 48mm tyres. I think 650B is the perfect in-between wheel size. And I love a bit of a chunky tyre, even when riding on the tarmac and asphalt of the city. A few people ask the stem length, but that really depends on how much sweep your handlebars have, how long your top tube is, and your body proportions, so I can't really recommend a stem length. Mine vary between 60mm and 130, so it all depends on the bike. Lots of people ask about helmets. I don't really want to get into the debate. You probably should wear one, but it's your choice really. I think they should be the last resort for safety. Infrastructure is more important, but I'm not saying don't wear a helmet. You probably should. But I don't think you should go around shaming people who don't either. How do I keep my bikes clean? I don't really. It's quite hard living in an apartment and finding the place to clean your bikes. I give the drivetrain a kind of a clean now and again, and luckily Seoul isn't that wet and muddy, so the bikes just get a bit dusty, and I wipe them down occasionally and they keep in good order. Although my Clem has had a rough winter. It's got a bit of a rusty chain. It needs a bit of TLC to be riding nice and smooth again for the spring. There's people curious about my bike storage situation too. In my old apartment I was quite lucky that the basement had quite ample bike storage that not many people used. So I think the landlord didn't realise all the bikes were just mine rather than being spread across different people in the apartments. Now I've moved, and over the couple of years of doing my channel I've got more bikes, so I do actually pay for a small storage unit. It's not far from my house, so I have a rotation. It's just another excuse to go for a bike ride and swap out a bike. Many Koreans ask me where I can buy a bike like mine in Seoul. And in the beginning I had to import everything myself, which does add up a bit. Luckily I have some friends in the US and at home who help me buy second-hand parts and frames, which are much cheaper, and you can get through customs a lot easier than with a new bike. Nowadays there's more shops importing and selling nicer bikes like this, selling Rune and Rivendell and Crust and all, Velo Orange and all the lovely steel bikes that you can get nowadays. And the last technical and practical question is to Strava or not to Strava. I haven't Stravaed for quite a few years. The first year I had my Velo Orange Polyvalent, I Stravaed every single ride just because I was curious to see how much I'd ride in a year. That year I rode about 8,000 kilometres, almost the distance from Seoul to London. But I realised I wasn't really enjoying recording my rides. Sometimes I would finish one and I was disappointed that it wasn't long enough. But I think it's better just to feel how far you can go and enjoy the ride without focusing too much on stats. I'd rather measure a ride by just how fun it was, how many coffees or delicious meals you had. Saying that, I don't record for stats, but I'm actually recording the whole rides for you, but that's a part I enjoy. Now for the next section, perhaps the star of the show for this channel. This section is about Seoul and culture. People ask, is Seoul safe for riding? I made a video about rating its different infrastructure. I'd say parts are safe, it's better than others. But you do have to share with cars a lot. If you want to ride fast enough, you can just ride slowly on the pavement if you want to. Or cut corners like this. Don't do this. Would I move elsewhere for better infrastructure? I wouldn't move somewhere with worse infrastructure. I really enjoy riding in Seoul. It's not perfect, but I think it's an interesting place to ride a bike. Every corner, you can turn a corner and find something new and cool. And I never feel too in danger. I do have to ride defensively sometimes. So if I had the right opportunities, I'd love to try and live in a place with better infrastructure, like Copenhagen or the Netherlands. Or even Tokyo, which doesn't have better infrastructure, but it feels like a safer place to ride. But for now, I'm really happy exploring Seoul still. Even after years, there's so much more I can find. If I moved, I would have to move somewhere that has amazing cafes too. And it's hard to beat the ones here. And someone asked my top cafes in Seoul. It was hard to choose. I'll give you my top 5, not in order. And they're all kind of not too far away from each other. Most of them anyway. I've got HPC Coffee, of course. Amazing bike community. And Travertine's a good favourite. It's been around for a while. And their coffee is just delicious. Always August in Samgakji is a new one. They have amazing coffee and they've started roasting their own as well. Kapi as well. Really lovely people, amazing music, delicious coffee. And I can't miss out Dark Edition over on the west side in Yeonhee. They have an amazing selection of different roasted beans. Lovely people who run it. Just incredible coffee. There's so many more I probably missed. One day I will get round to making that Seoul coffee map. Many people ask me the price of coffee here. A good coffee can be at least 4,000 won and up to 10,000 won at the very most. That's between $3 to $7 or £2.50 to £5.50 or same in euros. Seems reasonable until you think about the exchange rate. So it's probably good if you're earning dollars or pounds or euros, but still kind of expensive if you're earning Korean won. Some have asked about the record shop scene. I'd love to start buying records and listen to vinyl, but that'd just be another thing that rinses my money. Bikes and coffee is enough. But I do have a shop run by my good friend Antoine, which is Clique Records in Ultra. Definitely a place you should check out if you're in Seoul. At night time it's a bar as well. People have asked about learning Korean. The easiest part is learning to read and write. Hangul is an amazing alphabet, a phonetic alphabet, which is really logical. Some of the letters are shaped how your tongue or mouth is when you pronounce them. The letters are bunched into blocks of syllables, and it's generally pronounced exactly how it's written. But once you've learned to read or write, you can do that in about a day or two. It's the learning to know what it actually all means is the really hard part. There's a lot of cultural knowledge you need to know when speaking Korean for the idioms and things. And also there's different levels of formality and conjugations for finishing your sentences, depending on who you're talking to. Now I'm getting a bit older, people are starting to speak to me more formally, so I have to relearn some of the words that I know already. I learned to read and write quite soon after arriving, and learnt to speak a little bit of Korean. It wasn't until I met my wife when I really started studying, because I wanted to be able to talk to her family, who can't speak English. I've come a long way, but I still have a long way to go. I can converse with lots of people. A lot of my friends I speak to in Korean, they don't speak English. Especially if I'm talking about bikes or food, I can go on forever. But I can do a lot of things for myself, and I try to not ask my wife for help. I want to be independent, and also I don't want to bother her. I can do taxes and hospital visits and the doctor. the post office and everything by myself. I'd say I'm like a high intermediate level. Going to another country, I think learning the language is the best thing you can do to enhance your experience. You can do just, as I said, you can do things for yourself, but you meet people and have conversations you wouldn't usually have if you were only speaking to people who had learned English. Being able to speak Korean and how that's opened my world here has just made me feel so much more at home and comfortable here. People ask for Korean food recommendations. One of the best things about living here is the glorious food. I absolutely adore it. It's my favourite in the world. I love the hot, spicy, bubbling stews and the refreshing cold noodles, the barbecues. I love how communal Korean food is and how you share everything. My all-time favourite is just kimchi jjigae, soul food. It's just a simple, tangy, spicy, delicious soup. But if you ever come to Korea, there's so many good restaurants, but maybe the one thing to try, if you can, is some proper home style food. Go to someone's house and have them cook for you. It's quite different to what you get in the restaurants, and it's usually very seasonal too. But if you're going to restaurants, probably my top 5 meals would be Korean barbecue, gamjatang, the pork spine soup, probably naengmyeon, the North Korean style Pyongyang cold noodles, kimchi jjigae, the spicy kimchi stew. That's one I could just have every day for the rest of my life. And probably another one, if it's going to be different to the other 4, maybe a good seolleongtang or galbitang, some nice, delicious, clean meat broth with some beef inside, and then you just dump your rice in and have some delicious gukbap. There's just endless good food here. I can make a list and go on forever. Now for the final section of this Q&A video is tastes and influences. I get a lot of questions about kind of music I'm interested in. On YouTube I can't choose the music that I listen to because it's all copyrighted. Recently I've had a nice collaboration with Matt Shu's Obscure Orchestra. It's been really nice to connect with him in Australia and have music from real musicians, not from AI. But I can't use any of the regular popular music on these videos because of copyright. But if you follow me on Instagram, a lot of the music I use in my reels are songs that I'm listening to recently. I don't really stick to one genre. I have quite a wide variety of eclectic music taste, from R&B to heavy metal. It's hard to pick my favourite band or musician. There are people who are up there like D'Angelo and Prince, Queens of the Stone Age, Radiohead, At the Drive-In, Jimi Hendrix, Meshuggah. I can't just list every band I like. In a different day I would give you a completely different list of bands or musicians. Bike Breath asked the best concert I've been to. It's probably the concerts I used to go to when I was a teenager in the local pubs around my hometown. Maybe the most legendary was the White Horse in High Wycombe. I wonder if there's anyone out there watching this video who's been to the White Horse in High Wycombe. They used to have some legendary shows. Just loads of small touring bands, mostly punk and rock and metal bands. I used to play in a couple of bands there myself. One punk band inspired by Blink-182 called Shrunken Duncan, and then later on a metal band called Death Wish Come True. I played bass guitar and did a bit of singing. Maybe the most fun band back in those days was a band from Derby, a ska punk band called Lightyear. Their shows were just insanely fun. Everyone just had a really super fun time. Everyone was so happy and was just having a laugh. not taking it too seriously. But a live band that blew me away quite literally were Meshuggah. I've seen them a couple of times, and they're just a wall of sound. Just an amazing show. If you ever get the chance to see them live, you should. Now to another of my favourite things is bikes, music and coffee. My coffee preferences, some people might call me a coffee snob, but I think a coffee snob is just someone who appreciates good coffee. You can drink whatever you want, I'm not going to judge you. In a cafe I always get espresso or based drinks, but at home I like pouring single origin light roast coffee. I don't really have one country or process that I prefer. It's like with my music, depends on my mood, whether I want to have like a funky, natural Colombian coffee or something a bit more fruity or chocolatey. Really depends on my mood. I like just trying out different bags and freshly roasted coffee at home. I like trying the AeroPress, the V60, the Harrier switch, cloth filter bags. I haven't got into the world of home espresso yet. Maybe one day. And today's last question is, who influenced you the most? The influences for different parts of my life, I guess. A big influence in the bike world for many, and for me, is Grant Peterson. He makes beautiful, comfortable bikes with Rivendell, and I appreciate his outlook and ethos on riding bikes. But the person who has probably influenced me the most in my life, personally, is my wife. I think she's influenced me to make me a better person. It's not a woman's job to change a man to make them better, but a man should want to be better for their wife. And appreciate her influence on helping me become a better man and a great dad. I appreciate that she supports this channel and supports me with my love for bikes. There's probably a ton of questions I missed, and I could talk for a while longer. I feel like almost 40 minutes of me talking about myself might be long enough. I hope I can continue this channel for at least another 2 years, hopefully more. I really enjoy this world, and as I said before, I really appreciate all of you for sticking around. Let me know if there's any other burning questions that you have, or if there's anything that you want to see from the channel. What kind of video ideas would you like to have or find out about? Is there anything you want to know as I step in the world of dad bikes and riding with kids? And again, if you're keen on making similar videos, you can check out the link for the camera in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed the last 2 years of me probably riding my bike. Like and subscribe if you want to see more. See you later.